What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to cover here today. You're not going to believe what's happening here. We'll get to that here in a minute. And how another state is announcing more stimulus measures that could put money in your pocket. But there's some controversy. We'll get to that here as well. Well, first up, if you thought the pandemic was over, don't hold your breath. Because, well, China just locked down a massive city of 9 million people amid a massive new spike in cases. And while you never quite know what's going on in China because, well, you never really know with what they're reporting. But a massive city of 9 million people is about the size of New York City. So imagine right now if New York City was completely locked down, no one was able to leave, and it was just a complete lockdown. That's the type of lockdowns that they have in China. And that is exactly what they just did, and they're under lockdown right now. Yeah, get this. China on Friday ordered a lockdown of the 9 million residents on the northeastern city of Changchun amid a new spike in virus cases in the area attributed to the highly contagious Omicron variant. Yeah, 9 million residents. Residents are required to remain at home, with one family member permitted to venture out to buy food and other necessities every 2 days. All residents must undergo 3 rounds of mass testing, while non-essential businesses have been closed and transport links suspended. Yeah. The latest lockdowns, which also include Yuchen with 500,000 people in the eastern province of Shandong, show China is sticking to the draconian approach to the pandemic it has enforced for most of the past 2 years, despite some earlier indications that authorities would be implementing more targeted measures. Even though they say that they only have several hundred to several thousand cases out of 9 million people. I'm not sure if anybody believes that, but regardless, they have completely locked down the city. And they have more than 6,000 people that have moved to quarantine, and aerial images show students in hazmat suits lining up in the cold and dark waiting to be transferred. Yeah, so if you ever wondered what it would like to be in a communist country, well, that gives you an idea. Imagine what it would like to be there or in Russia right now. That gives you a little bit of an idea what it would be like. And also, of course, we know what the information coming out of these countries, what it's like as well. It's also been reported that China is also sticking with Russia and reporting the Russian story that it's just a Russian exercise and they're over there to liberate Ukraine, and they're not showing the pictures or the footage of Ukraine being bombed. And very similar to what's going on in Russia, that basically nobody in Russia knows what's going on because it's only or very few people do, because all they can see is what Russia shows them on state-sponsored TV, and there's no media, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram. They can't go on the internet. Very similar to how parts of China are, where they can't get on the internet and, well, some parts of this, and they're just closed off to the rest of the world. Closed off to the rest of the world. If you saw in one of my previous videos where the father, I showed that video where a father from Russia called his son from Ukraine, and the father had no idea that the son in Ukraine was being bombed, and the father didn't believe the son. He literally argued with the son, saying, "No, Russia's there to liberate you guys from the Nazis. What are you talking about?" And the father thought that the Russians were there to help out the Ukrainians. And the son said, "No, father, we're being attacked, we're being bombed." And the father just wouldn't believe him, which is really sad when your own son is telling you. You think if you're going to believe anybody, you would believe your own son, right? But yeah, so this is kind of the issue. And I mean, you got to think, if you're locking down a city of 9 million people, complete lockdown, not even allowed to leave your house except for one person every 2 days just to go out and get food, think about how bad it has to be there. Think about how bad it would have to be in New York City for um, President Biden or former President Donald Trump to do a full-blown lockdown, like you can't leave your house except for one person every 2 days, and the only place you can go is to get food. Yeah, and this is now here in 2022, 2 years after like the first wave. I mean, you got to remember when we had the first lockdown, first of all, things weren't that strict. But that was like when we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how contagious this was. We didn't know if this was like a viral strain. We didn't know, right? This was like, the first outbreak. We didn't know what was. People were just scared to death, right? Like people didn't know, right? We're now here in 2022. At least we know what it consists of. Now, a lot of people have died, no doubt. In fact, the U.S. is nearing 1 million people, and worldwide, it's you can actually see it right here. Worldwide, or in the U.S., 966 million people have died from the virus. Almost 80 million confirmed cases of people that have caught it. And remember, that doesn't include people that took at-home tests, because those don't get reported to anybody, and people that just never went and got tested, that doesn't get reported to anybody. That's about 25% of Americans. If you take 80 million times 4, that would be 320 million people. 8 times 4 is 32. So that's about 25% of all Americans have now caught the virus. And remember, that doesn't include anybody that took one of the millions of at-home tests now. So it's probably a lot higher, right? And we're nearing 1 million deaths. That's a lot of people. If we look at the worldwide number, over 6 million people worldwide have died from this virus. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Very, very significant. And the question here is, are we going to have another massive spike like this? We're averaging right now 35,000 new cases per day. The question here is, look at this spike. Are we going to have another one like that? Where we had several days over 1 million cases per day. Are we going to have another one like that? Right now we're averaging 35,000 cases per day. Are we going to have another one? So that's a good question. And now we have other things to worry about here: inflation, the war in Ukraine, Putin. Who knows what that guy's going to do next? If we can stop that guy, if he's just going to literally go until who knows what, right? I mean, defense officials here in the U.S. have literally said now that they have legitimate concerns about World War III, because guys, it's literally unpredictable, and look at what it's done. first of all, to the poor people in Ukraine that are literally just being attacked on a daily basis. And the citizens there, it's just unspeakable. And here in America, the price of gas rising uncontrollably, price of food. In fact, check this out.
For a cold, hard lesson on inflation, step into the refrigerator where Karina Godino-Wallink stores the food supplies she just bought for her pop-up food stand business in Phoenix, Arizona.
So usually it would be, the boneless would be about $1 a pound. Right now it's $1.84 a pound. This cheese used to be $9. Right now it's like $14.56.
2 years ago, Karina opened up Down to Get Tacos, catering special events. Inflation has upended her business.
Have there been events where you've just lost money?
Oh, 100%. So these are from today.
As we look over some of the week's receipts, Karina explains the hardest impact of inflation on a small business owner is how unpredictable her world has become. The demand for her business is there, everything else is a nightmare.
And that makes it hard for someone like you to run your business.
Correct. It makes it unbelievably difficult for us to predict any pricing. I can't even say I'm going to charge you a certain price right now because in 3 days it's probably bound to change,
right.
And it's never for the better.
Phoenix, Arizona has one of the highest inflation rates in the country. The latest statistics show it's 3 percentage points higher than the national average for cities. And that makes life harder for people living on fixed incomes like Geraldine Spencer.
This was the first one I ever did.
As she shows us her painting skills, Geraldine tells us she lives on $1,700 a month in Social Security. She says she pays $600 in rent and at least $300 a month pays for needed kidney and blood pressure medications.
How hard is it living on a fixed income?
It is hard. And I feel so sorry for my friends that just don't have this kind of money as much as I do, because they're much worse off than me.
Yeah, so really you can see that everything has spiked up here in the last month, and nothing has happened in the last month besides the war from Russia. And hopefully we can get that to stop sooner rather than later. And we're seeing more and more states step up to the plate. Here's one that I've been asked about a lot in the comments section. And, well, here's some movement on it. It does have some criticism with it. I'll tell you why here. But here is potentially some good news here for a large state.
Gas prices continuing their uphill climb, and it's getting a bit uncomfortable. So the national average now $4.31.
A lot of people saying, I don't really need to make that trip.
Seriously.
I might just stay home.
Get on that bike.
And for the first time since the beginning of the surge, Florida is more than the national average. Here's a look at the map from AAA. As you can see, Duval is at $4.33 a gallon, while St. Johns County a little more at $4.36.
All right, so if you head west, Baker County is listed, though, as the lowest average price in the entire state at $4 and right around 15 cents.
Florida lawmakers have agreed on a plan to use $200 million in federal stimulus money to give drivers a gas tax break.
News for Jack's reporter, Ashley Harding, is live in our mobile newsroom. Ashley, you've been burning a lot of gas today. This is not immediate relief either that we're talking about.
As far as going around and burning gas, I do not want to see the gas bill. Let me just say that. But as you guys mentioned, we've been driving around this morning. The highest I've personally seen it on a sign is $4.41 a gallon. And yes, that hurts my soul a little bit. But if this plan passes before the end of the legislative session, it will not mean relief until, get this, October. So federal stimulus money would fund the tax break, and it comes from a pot of nearly $3.5 billion that the state is working to budget. So lawmakers needed to pass a budget by tomorrow in order to end the legislative session on time. But because of some last-minute changes, they will not vote on a budget until Monday at the earliest. So Governor Ron DeSantis had asked lawmakers to suspend the state's gas tax starting July 1st. So that plan would have saved drivers 25 cents per gallon for 5 months. Now, some lawmakers refused to get on board with that plan, saying if the state suspends the gas tax over the summer, it would miss out on money that tourists typically bring to the state. Now, lawmakers do plan to put another $450 million in tax relief in the state budget, and that would include sales tax holidays for hurricane season, also school supplies, Independence Day, and of course Labor Day as well.
Yeah, so as you could see here, Florida drivers could get gas tax break, but maybe not all the way until October. But there's some other things that they could get, and I'll tell you about the controversy here and why it's delayed and why people are blaming Governor Ron DeSantis for this delay. But here's some of the details. House and Senate negotiators agreed to use $200 million in federal stimulus money to give Republican Governor Ron DeSantis part of his request for a gas tax break as they wrapped up more of a budget that will send the annual legislative session into overtime. House Appropriations Committee Jay Trumbull, a Republican from Panama City, and a couple other people approved a wide range of uses for $3.46 billion in stimulus money. That included funding a gas tax break that would occur not until October. Now note the wording here, just ahead of the November elections, which is when the current governor, Republican Ron DeSantis, is up for re-elections. They also agreed on more than $450 million in additional tax relief, which has mostly been included in a House bill, HB 7071. Now, part of the controversy here is that they literally delayed it. Well, this is what some people are saying, that they could have passed this before and got this out way quicker, pretty much, like now or within the next few weeks or so, to residents or people in Florida, but that they delayed this so that it would go out the month before or weeks before when Governor Ron DeSantis is up for re-election. So again, I try not to lean either way, but I will tell you guys the controversy, and you guys can make your own decisions on that and let me know your thoughts in the comments. It is suspect, to say the least. A budget that will top $100 billion. Wow, it's a lot. Is expected to be completed Thursday and is still hammering out differences on what are known as conforming bills, including a controversial environmental package, SB 2508. The state is flush with cash from stimulus money and higher than expected tax revenues. I told you these states are flush with cash. Here it is literally in writing. The state is flush with cash from stimulus money and higher than expected tax revenues. And they're going to potentially spend $200 million in a tax. Let me see here, $200 million in a gas tax break and $450 million in additional tax relief. I don't know if I have the details on that. They said, quote, people always think it's harder when you don't have money. I would say it's been harder to try and figure out how to appropriately fund things in an efficient and effective way. Meh. I'm not sure. Stargell and Trumbull said some uncertainty remains about how the state would distribute what negotiators are calling a school recognition fund. That $200 million fund would be used to reward school districts that did not require students to wear masks during the pandemic. Controversial to say the least. Initially, the House wanted to shift $200 million away from the 12 districts that did impose mask mandates, but that was revamped Tuesday to create a, quote, recognition fund. It's unclear if this will even fly without lawsuits and a lot of controversy. Stargell told reporters Wednesday that the Senate did not agree to a House proposal that would have made the 12 districts ineligible to receive the recognition funds. and that it will be addressed in a budget implementing bill. They are also eyeing $800 million to continue a plan to raise teachers' salaries and raise the minimum wage for all school employees to at least $15 per hour. But the statewide minimum wage is going to $15 an hour anyways, but not until 2026. DeSantis pushed for suspending the state's roughly 25 cents a gallon gasoline tax, which is actually one of the lower ones of states, for 5 months, which would put money back in people's pockets. Gas taxes help pay for transportation projects. DeSantis proposed using stimulus money to make up for revenue lost during the 5-month period. But legislator leaders questioned the proposal because tourists would receive a large amount of the benefit during the suspended gas tax. And that May and October are the months that state typically draws its fewest number of tourists. Honestly, that's why it would be better to just send a stimulus check back to your residents, because then you don't have to worry about out-of-staters getting the money, right? You know, tourists that are coming into your state and have a lot of money to fly there or travel there, and are from a different state, you know, and their state might be providing them a check, or they might be, you know, they might have a lot of money and don't need a stimulus check. Um, you know, they don't need a gas tax savings per se. You just provide a stimulus check, then you don't have to worry about all this stuff, right? Make it a lot simpler, right? And then you can provide it to all the low income people. The Senate also revised some House tax packages. This is also key because a lot of other states are doing stuff like this. They include a 14-day tax holiday, so no state taxes in late, I think, sales taxes in July and early August on back-to-school items such as clothes, but that's for everybody, school supplies and computers. 14-day tax holiday in late May and early June to prepare for hurricane season. A 7-day tax holiday around Independence Day to encourage people to be more active, and a 7-day tax holiday around Labor Day on tools and other work equipment. So again, Florida is providing ways to give money back to their residents in a various different kind of ways. Money for teachers, gas holidays, sales tax holidays, and various different dates. So they are giving money back to their residents, but you can let me know your thoughts here on this. It's kind of a little bit at a time here and there. But these aren't really passed quite yet per se, unless you got one of the teacher bonuses, or if you're a teacher and you're going to be getting one of these big bonuses. If you're just a regular resident, you're going to be getting these kind of like in sales tax and gas taxes and savings along the way, unless they kind of have something more in there. But if you've been watching my show, there's literally all these different states. Also, there's that $450 million what was it? It was tax cuts. So there's a lot of different things. All these states, literally one by one, are all announcing different type of things like this. And each state's doing it a little bit differently, whether it's a stimulus check, lowering the price of gas in your state, lowering the price of grocery taxes, lowering the price of just state taxes. Some have lowering income taxes for seniors, all sorts of different things here. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country, and on stimulus and Russia and Ukraine, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on our new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also help us reach 400,000 subscribers. We're almost there. I'll keep you up to date. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to see my new video about potential $3,600 anti-inflation checks from the federal government, or $300 per month. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.